Hey you guys, Jen here. I want to talk about downward dog and how to personalize it for your body. And one of the most phenomenal things about yoga is that it allows us that space to move in ways that are ideal for us, right? So we have our own bony structure, our movement history, different patterns and habits that we have in our bodies that we are either working with or kind of trying to challenge in different ways. So maybe our goal is to increase our mobility or our strength or our flexibility. All of these things can be gained in our yoga practice. But the key thing that I like to try to get across about our shapes is there's no ideal that works for everyone. We have all of these unique things about our own bodies that make our practice very personal. And it's kind of like handwriting, right? So I can tell someone has written the word dog, but someone's word on the page is going to look a little different. It's going to have its own style, its own flavor. So you guys, when we work with our poses here, I really want you to keep in mind there's no right or wrong. So there might be days where you feel more energetic and you want to kind of press into those edges of your mobility to challenge and expand that space. There's other days you want to take things down and be a little bit more relaxed and passive about your practice. It's all good, and good, right? So let's talk about downward dog and just what the shape can offer us and find your way to tabletop. Now, the hands are going to come down onto your mat and the fingers are just spread in a comfortable distance apart, right? I want you to find the mounds of the fingers and the fingerprints. And what does that do? It helps us to engage the whole hand. So we're supporting the wrist. We're getting our wrists stronger. And so you guys find the fingerprints, find those mounds, and press into your shape. Now, here's sometimes what I see. The press turns into a round and tuck, kind of like our cat in our cat-cow. But I'd like you to stay long with the spine and press just enough so that you feel the shoulder blades kind of widen and the shoulders light up on both sides. And then you guys energetically, I want you to pull the hands towards your knees and feel that lighting up of the chest, the shoulders. Now from here, go ahead and keep those engagements slowly, like you're kind of moving through molasses here. Find your way back into downward dog. Keep all those engagements of the shoulders. Now that's a nice, strong way to get into the downward dog here. You could even give a little hug of those shoulders towards one another or the forearms towards one another. Feel that nice release in the neck, right? So we don't need those accessory muscles to kick in, the neck, the jaw. Just kind of allow that space to be soft there. And then kind of feel into how would it feel in your body if your hands were a little bit further apart? Right? Just kind of take that in. Sometimes I'll even come up onto my fingerprints to strengthen those wrists a little bit more. If you could use a little less on your wrists, a nice way to bring the ground up and the pose kind of dips back towards the hips a little bit, our hands on the blocks. So those are all nice ways to kind of customize your downward dog. Now, let's say you really wanted to strengthen your shoulders and you're wanting to challenge that space in your body. Something that you could do is start to take the hands away from the feet. I have to work a lot harder, basically in a long plank, challenging the shoulders to work extra hard here, right? Now, the way I just showed you with those blocks is a way to lighten the load on those shoulders. Let's talk about the lower body a little bit. So this is a great pose to get the length in the spine, right? Which we kind of just played with a little bit, allowing that neck to kind of relax and let go. The other part of this pose is the back body, that back line of the legs, getting into the calves and all of those tissues. So you guys find your downward dog, and let's start to just bend those knees generously and then begin to open up the knees. But what I'd like you to do is focus on the heels going down and the sit bones going up. So I don't know if you could see that in my body here. Bend those knees. So instead of just straightening, right? Sometimes we just straighten. I want you to focus on the heels going down and the sit bones going up. And that's what's going to be kind of opening up that knee joint. Now, here's another little fun thing that I like to do is resist the opening. And you could even get a little shaky shake going on there because you're working against that lengthening of the tissues. You're strengthening and lengthening at the same time, which can feel really good. You can get that sense of rest and release in tissues very often by giving it that energy while you're stretching at the same time. So you guys, there you go. Play with it. Be just curious on what's going to work really well for your body. Take those days that you could use just the breath and that length and that release of that shape. Other days you might want to press into those edges. So I look forward to seeing you soon.